and to the angels ruling in that atmosphere of that planet, these Etherians will set orders and laws to that atmospherian angel ruling for that planet. So at the beginning of every 3,000 years, these Etherians come down and set these orders, give it to the atmospherians, and then they leave. And the information that they give to the atmospherian angels is set for the next 3,000 years. So they got to keep this order for 3,000 years until the next. And then wherever man needs to develop at, they'll set a next rule, and then so forth. Now, when the order is laid, when the atmospherian God, who we call God, God of heaven and earth, not the creator, an angel who is in charge of the heavens and the earth, when he gets these instructions from the higher gods, the Etherians above him, through the creator, these instructions, commandments, laws, are given to the host in his administration. And from his administration, and the administration is the Lord God's. So from the third heaven from the third heaven in God's kingdom, the information is trickled down to the second heaven through the Lord God kingdom, then to the first heaven, resting on earth through the Lords, through the guardian angels, and then through mortals. That's how the information from the spirit realm is trickled down, and how mortals can live out and act out what's going on in heaven by following these laws and precepts. Now, you have angels who may follow these precepts and laws and commandments that these Etherians lay down, the true God of heaven and earth, the atmospheric God. They may decide after 400 years, they may send a letter to true God in heaven and say, hey, we want to change this up a little. This is starting to get played out. We want to do this. And God, who is ruling, who is in charge of this operation, may say, hey, nah, we was commanded to keep this up until this particular time. So these set of angels may decide, well, we don't want to follow that no more. We're going to do our own thing. And they leave with the host of followers who are willing to follow these orders, who decided to leave. And then these angels find another region, set up their heavenly kingdoms, promote one of them, their leaders, as a lord or a god, however they want to declare themselves on earth, similar to a president. And then they create their own doctrine, and then the angels in that heavenly order believes his doctrine and believes he is the creator in the mortal of man, or an angel. And then this angel will decide to transmute this knowledge that he created to mortals on earth so he can get glory on earth. And by doing so, he could win souls and populate his heavenly kingdom with the souls of those who die in his belief, or her belief. You have gods and goddesses, male and female. Now, when the false god decides he's going to create a document for mortals on earth, and that document is actually transmuted on earth to a prophet, or a seer, I should say, a person who is able to hear and see angels. And the angel may use that person to transmute the message. And then when the angel transmutes the message to that mortal proclaims the message abroad. And if it's a king, it's even easier because he could draw the sword and tell people to fall by the sword if they don't follow the commandments. So most of the false gods always choose kings because they can easily influence and populate their numbers quick. And this is the origin of how these wars begins, coming from heaven, from a disagreement in heaven, and then playing out on earth. And then another god will do, another angel, I should say, because I have to correct those terms. I have to give an understanding of the term God, and Lord after this, so you could understand what I'm saying when I say these terms, because a lot of people don't understand these terms because we have a biblical background, and they really don't expound on what those terms mean. Now, when a false...
Which is actually spoken of in the scriptures as well, correct? The God or gods and lords.
Right. But explaining their order to say, like, you know what I mean? Because some people see Lord God and think that's God.
They think it's the same person.
Right, exactly. You got
same entity,
Exactly. So you understand where I'm coming from now. So when this false angel decides to proclaim his doctrine on earth, an angel out of that same false God's kingdom may decide to do his own thing and create a triple effect. And next, he decides to influence a mortal on earth to proclaim his doctrine. And now you have a clash of two doctrines on earth. religious doctrines going back and forth based off these two guys in the heaven who decided to do their own thing from the start. But this is how it is broken down. No different than a gang, a street gang. You got brothers moving with one accord. Then after a while, some out the camp may decide they want to go this way. And then others out the camp decide they want to go this way. Then they start warring amongst each other. We see it through the Hebrew Israelites all day. Mm-hmm. I go to YouTube and see Hebrew Israelites fussing and going back and forth at each other. They under the influence of a false deity. They don't know it, though. They talking about Yahweh and Yahweh, but their deeds is showing otherwise. And that's how I know the fruit, like you stated earlier.
Yeah.
So I could engage with them and try to explain to them, like, yo, check this out. I understand where you're coming from, but don't lock yourself in. Mm-hmm. Always keep an open mind. I like the Oahspe is a great book. Don't think for 1 second I'm subjected to it, though. Mm-hmm. It's just a book with information to help me on my experience through life. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to bound myself in the book. I'm not going to idolize and worship the book like they do the Bible. Everything's about the Bible, the Quran. Nah. Yeah. When you show that, you lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like this, man. It's like, it's so beautiful because, you know what I'm saying, the Most High revealed himself to me through the scriptures and you know what I'm saying, what I knew to be Jesus Christ at the time.
Right.
You know, he revealed himself to me. And I was, you know, reading the scriptures, and it was beautiful. He was showing himself to me through it. Right. But you actually move to a state with the Creator where he will reveal himself to you through everything.
Right.
Through conversations, through television, through clouds, through the grass, everything that you look at, he's trying to speak to you, to, you know, to give you messages, or to send the spirits to give you messages or whatever. So whenever you got to move to a state where you're able to listen to him. And is a quote that says, if you can't see God in all, then you can't see God at all. So you got to be, so if you're on a deserted island without no Bible, without no Quran, without no mosque or no temple to pray to, you know, then if that's the case, if you're that dependent on the Bible, upon a book, upon a teaching, then, you know, you're screwed. Exactly. But you have to transcend religion. You have to transcend dogmas and rules and regulations to know that God is everywhere, man, and God is dealing with all people. You just have to be able to find out who he's dealing with. And I think it's what you were saying, you know, everybody who is with the service to others over service to self, and those who have the, you know, even Christ said that, you know, no greater love is there than a man who would lay down his life for his friend. Exactly. So, you know, those who are, you know, who are not about the ego and all about themselves, just like them angels you were speaking of, the same spirit that's on them angels, the same spirit they possess, gets on these so-called leaders through these Nuwapians and through whatever religion you want to call it, and they try to draw men unto themselves so that they can get followers. And because they're being led by these fallen angels, man.
Right. You see the order.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's how you could tell who is who on earth, once you understand and oversee things. But if you bound in something, you can't overstand because you bound.
Yeah.
You can't stand outside the circle and observe if you stuck in the circle.
That's why you got to come to them with their terms, you know, like on like a beginner's level. Like if you're talking about the Annunaki or whatever, you can't even come with that language. You have to say fallen angel. You know, you can't you know, you might even have to say Nephilim. Or you can't say Elohim, because if you mention the word Elohim, they think you're talking about one God, like the Most High God, Elohim. They don't know that, you know what I'm saying, that word translates into gods, you know, like so you have to actually get on a level and give them a little bit as they're able to receive, you know.
And clearing up what I said I was going to clear up earlier about the term God, and Lord, those are titles bestowed on angels. For example, president is a title bestowed on a mortal to have rulership over the country for a particular time. So the same rules apply in the heavens with the angels. angels and spirit, those are synonymous with each other. But not all spirits are angels, because animals contain spirits. But their spirits can't attain to be angels because they're not mortals. Only mortals can be angels. That's why every time you see an angel, it look like who? It look like yourself, like a person. When you look at the scriptures and they talk about the angels, didn't it look like it wasn't a mortal? When Abraham entertained the angels, the two angels that came to his tent, wasn't they mortal? So angel is nothing but a representation of how we look on earth. But when we cross over in that realm, we have the same semblance. So God is a title bestowed on an angel to have rulership over the heavens and the earth for a particular time. And then another God succeeds him and passes the throne, like the presidency on earth. But see, the scriptures don't tell you this. So when you hear it, it could be kind of somewhat understanding and then somewhat confusing, because then you'll be asking yourself, well, how many times the gods have succeeded the throne? How many 3,000-year cycles have gone and went since the creation of man? And in Oahspe, it gives you a chronological order of these things.
Yeah. It's a lot to it, because, I mean, there's even information about Ashtaroth and Baal and how these gods were set up to rule over certain places for a certain, period of time. And, and even, that's not explained. So that's why, I appreciate the work that you're doing, because if you do read the Bible, if you do read the Quran, what I see the Bible Oahspe doing is taking some of the concepts and some of the terms that may seem familiar to you with your holy books or whatnot, and it's breaking down the science of it.
Right.
And you're actually breaking down the science and going into a little bit more detail. And that's what's beautiful, to actually understand the science of how angels work, how angels operate, how the universe works and operates, And
that's all it is. It's just information giving you in-depth, giving you more in-depth information of what you already know. So that's why I was trying to reach out to some of the brothers and sisters and share this information. But being that they bound, they close themselves, you know what I'm saying? But it's all good. Eventually they'll come full circle, because as you get older, you get wiser, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
When I was young, I was running with the 5%ers. I used to spit the 5% lesson. I used to have the Quran. I used to study Islam, you know what I'm saying? Then I started studying with the Hebrew Israelites. I still consider myself an Israelite today, although I see a lot of flaws in the doctrine. I still represent the bloodline, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the 400-year captivity, I can relate to that. That's real stuff, because we got documented history of it, and we could cross-reference 400 years where the scripture where it talk about Abraham. And then you have a lot.
Let me ask you this.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask you this. It's kind of shifting it just a little bit. You posted some information and some pictures up where Yahweh, the term Yahweh, or the name of God Yahweh, was referenced in Egypt.
Right.
On some I don't know if it was a tablet or
during the New Kingdom in Egypt, there was glyphs of what they call a Shasu, a Yahweh. Shasu meaning those who move on foot. So those who moved on foot, that's what the name Shasu mean when you look it up. They came from Canaan, Palestine region, and they were worshippers of Yahweh. They were the Hebrews. That's the Hebrews, what you've seen on the walls of Kemet. But they don't, being that the Jews, the European Jews who control, like, the media, they wouldn't blatantly come out and tell you that, because then you can make the connection that the Hebrew Israelites been saying all along. Hey, we the Hebrew, but even the Hebrews don't go to Kemet to even get their knowledge to show on the glyphs on the wall, like, Yahweh's on the walls, and y'all ain't even going to get it. I pulled it out and showed some of these brothers that they ain't even know. And I'm like, look, they got the Egyptian glyphs of Yahweh, which is older than the Hebrew manuscripts that you could find anywhere today.
So in a sense, it would actually work for them, because it's almost like their mortal enemies on the earth, or their spiritual enemies, is actually proving their God for them, in a sense, correct?
Exactly.
And they don't even do that. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's another inscription that's even older than that. That goes back to the Middle Kingdom, 1900 BC, where you have a Kemetic inscription called the Tale of Senuhi, where this traveler traveled into the regions of Canaan, into a land called Yah, Y-A-A. Who else called on the name Yah but the Hebrews? And then you have the Egyptians, the Kemetic glyphs showing you the name Yah, which is the leaf and the two birds. Entails in 1900 BC, the oldest text with the name Yah in it. But they don't want to cite this up. They want to tell me about some Ahaya that has no reference that I could see in history. But here you have Yahweh, you have Yah, recorded in history for you to see today. Everybody wanted, I've been debating with these Hebrew Israelites about this name Ahaya. I don't have no problem with it. I told the brothers, I said, just prove it in history. But they want to cross-reference it with the Strong's Concordance. That book was written by James Strong's in 1890. You can't cross-reference a book that was created in 1890 with ancient doctrine. It can't do that.
Yeah. Well, look, man, check this out. With that whole thing is, all right, when I was studying under the Hebrew Israelites and with, GOCC, which came from, the UPK or whatnot, I was in, I'm actually Native American Indian and a German descent. So, I would, relate my lineage to the tribe of Gad according to the Hebrew Israelites. And so, man, check this out. I started going to work, right? I was working on a job as a electrician. I was a helper. Okay. And this was just when I was getting big into the Hebrew Israelites and learning all the doctrine and pushing it and learning who the true Jews are and all this type of stuff. And it was like brand new for me. And and I was trying to spit some game on the job, and I'm down here in the South. I was actually working in Mississippi. Wow. And come to find out, my boss was one of the head dudes of the Ku Klux Klan, man. Wow. And I was just spitting some knowledge, like, yeah, man, the people over there ain't the real Jews, blase, blase. And he's like, yeah, man, you know what's up? You know who the real Jews are? And I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're, those who are of a dark complexion. He's like, wait. And he was coming because what the Klan believe, they'll take the same Bible, the same scriptures, and go even deeper and have crazy breakdowns, just like the Hebrew Israelites, and breakdowns and prove how the white man, the pale white man, is the real original Jew, and they'll break it down. And me and him was going back and forth and stuff. And this was my boss on the job, man. I'm like, we like in each other's face and stuff, dude. And he was like, look, man. He's like, whenever you go home, just look up the word Adam in the Strong's Concordance. You know what I'm saying? Just look it up. And I was like, I already know what it is. And I got home and I looked it up, and it meant, according to the Strong's Concordance, it said that Adam meant ruddy, able to show blood in the face. And their big claim to fame is that the dark-skinned people cannot show blood in the face. They can't blush when they do something bad, but not. So I got on the phone and called up all the head Hebrew Israelite teachers. They didn't know what to say. They said, oh, man, I think the Most High got to work for you, man. I don't know. And this was like the head dudes that I'm getting all my information from. See that? They was stuck. It was like, man. But then, you transcend all that, man. And really, it don't matter. It don't matter if if you are of your father, the devil. It don't matter what skin color you are, man.
Exactly. And see, that's another thing that these brothers is caught up in. That's gonna trap them again. Is the skin war. Mm-hmm. It's your deeds that you will be judged by. Mm-hmm. Like you said, ain't no skin complexion. What skin you gonna be when you enter the spirit realm? Yeah. What colors are the angels? Yeah. Oh, he black. When Jesus in Revelation said he black.
Oh, man, come on, man.
You see that?
That's easily whack, man. Yeah.
When the spirit represents light. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Reflection light.
It even tells you. It even tells you in the book of Enoch, which is so deep. It tells you in Enoch that when these angels are in their etheric state, when they're in heaven, that they look like fire.
Right. Manifested bodies of light.
Yeah, and as they wish, when they come to the earth, they can, transform and actually, take upon the appearance of men.
Exactly.
You know, it tells you in the book of Psalms that his ministers are transformed into a flame of fire. It also repeats that in Hebrews and stuff. And then the word seraphim, which is a biblical term for a sect of angels, which means the fiery ones, the ones who are as a flame of fire. So, with all these references about these fiery beings and stuff, and these beings who have no appearance that look like a mortal man, unless they wish to, you see these different videos from NASA, and there's some videos of these. It's just some space footage of these different comets and fireballs they're shooting all over in space, and they'll stop on a dime and turn, and they're doing all these different things in space. And I know for a fact, man, from what I've seen, what I've looked up, and through my spiritual exercise myself, that, man, these things are spirits. These things are not particles of ice or just random balls of gas in the sky, man. These things are living entities flying around, watching over the deeds of men and reporting and bringing information. It's some deep stuff going on out there, man. So I appreciate you, coming on the show to, break down some of this information for everybody listening.
Indeed, and it seems like you're already aware of those realms, and like you said, they watch it, taking notes. You know what I mean? And they're traveling in their crafts. If we mortal beings on Earth can travel on an airplane and go from this continent to that continent, wouldn't it make sense for the higher ones, living in the atmospheric region and in the etheric region, to travel in crafts, to go from star to star, planet to planet, solar system to solar system, according in the grade and rank of the angels, moving? But they want to stay stuck on the earthbound thing. That's why I said, I ain't going to waste time. You know what I'm saying? Eventually people will wake up and wisen up. And if they don't wisen up on Earth, they still have a chance to wisen up when they cross over. Because you're still facing the same similarities. You're going to have other angels trying to convince you to rise up. While you still hold fast to earthly matters, but you in the spirit realm. It's better to prepare spiritually on Earth, prepare yourself for these spiritual matters, so you have an easier understanding when you get there, than to be so earthbound on physical things. So when you cross over, it's going to be hard for you to ascend because you're so earthbound and caught up in the earthly matters.
Let me ask you this right quick. We got somebody in the chat room. I guess it's one of your friends. They told me to ask you about that. They've seen some craft with you together. I think it's Uriah.
Uriah. Yeah, my bedroom Uriah from Antigua.
Yeah, have you seen some crafts and have some sightings or what?
Yeah. Because I've been telling them I've been seeing crafts because I follow the moon cycles. I'm in depth with the moon cycles. For example, we're in the 12th moon cycle, 12th night of the moon right now. It's a full moon if you look outside. So I'm in depth. Yeah. I follow the moon cycles like that for years now. And I was telling people, I just put up a vid talking about, I just did it just for GP. They want to talk about 2012, and I showed them how, well, if you follow in the moon cycles, 2012 ain't come yet, because the true calendar is the moon cycles, and once you understand it, you could be in sequence with the time. So I said the 21st of the moon will be your 2012. But I just did that for them to think about, to show them that the Roman calendar that you're following is not a true organic calendar. It's not the Creator's calendar. It's a false calendar. But the moon cycle comes from the Creator. And once you get in touch with those seasons and cycles, you'll start to understand particular things. You can understand how Sabbath really works. The Sabbath is based off the moon cycle, not a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I could expound on this because I've been following this moon cycle for over 6 years. But coming to the UFO thing, or the crafts, I've been sighting up crafts for some years now, and I've been telling my people, like, I be seeing the crafts all the time. You know what I'm saying? And where I live at, because where I live at, we got open field and open space, so we got a good glimpse of the sky. So I've been telling my bedroom Uriah, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, son, I just seen a craft the other day, boom, bam. So one day we outside chilling, and I look up, and boom, there go a craft just coursing. It ain't no plane, because the altitude of it was with the stars. You could determine that it wasn't no plane because of the altitude, because it was moving behind other stars. That's when I knew of the altitude that it was traveling at. So I said, look, boom, son, there go one right there. And then he seen it for himself. Finally, like, Rod said, yo, big boom, you're right. I seen it for myself right now. And then another night, like the week after that, he came by, and the same thing happened again. So he got a chance to see it like twice. But I follow the moon cycles, and I keep a chart, and I got it written on my moon cycles. And if you was to see it, you would see how many times I be sighting up these crafts. And he's starting to sight up the crafts now. But they here, like you said,